Joseph further expands our understanding of physicality in responses to questions based on Chapter 2.
Hello, this is Tony Clarkson and welcome back to the Sanctuary. I'm here with Michael and this is a follow-on video from the book, The Fall. And so far, Michael has read the introduction, Chapter 1, and now the last one was Chapter 2. And we're going to go through the questions and answers now for Chapter 2. The way Joseph works is he gives us a lecture. It takes over Michael's body, he gives us a lecture, and then at the end of it, we're all allowed a question, and then he will answer the question. And so that's the bit that we're going to go through in this video. And so I'll be reading a little bit as Tony, as David and Jane, and then Michael will be doing the most of the work as usual, and reading the Joseph part of it. So I think without further ado, we can start that.
Yes, at the end of chapter 2, Joseph said, let me see if I've covered the areas that I wish to cover. He was talking about the pattern of creation as per our last video. Have I sufficiently explained the nature of physical creation? Does this make sense to you?
And I am now Tony. I play this part really well. It's the other parts I don't play very well. And so I interjected at that point and said, absolutely, Joseph, you have put it beautifully. It is amazing. And then Jane came in and Jane said, you say that the patterns of physicality is based on the circle, but a lot of things are waves, such as light waves and sound waves. Is that also based on the circular pattern? Because a wave on a graph looks like a sequence of alternating semicircles.
And Joseph replied, frequencies have a part to play within the spectrum of creation. Frequencies maintain or take away the illusion. Frequencies allow form to be perceived and to perceive. Frequencies within the dot within the circle of creation are the filter by which the unseen appreciates itself and others as the seen and focused. They are set up, as you know, by the circling or vibration of the dot within the circle. Every aspect of creation has a sound, has an energy, has a projection, and everything seeks to project. God seeks to project. The angels seek to project. You seek to project, but you do not know it. And what you perceive of as frequencies is that volition to project emanating from the unseen into the seen. And because vibration also is alive, there is a purpose to vibration that changes. Again, science looks at particles and says that one moment a particle is there and the next it is not. That is because the vibration that particle is an expression of has changed its volition at that point, has changed its mind, as it were, although mind is totally the wrong word, has changed its perception and is experiencing somewhere else and being something else. So the scientist sees through the microscope the particle disappear from one area and reappear in another area because the vibration has changed its perception. Vibrations are also impinged upon by your perception, by your volition, and by your wishing to be in a certain state or in a certain place. Your thoughts actually impinge on the vibrations and waveforms around you, but the waveforms are expressions of God. If you put out your hands now, I will attempt to demonstrate and allow you to feel the tingling of the vibrations against you. Can you feel them? Can you feel the energy that is around you? And at this point, David, Jane and Tony put their hands out and Joseph attempted to make them feel the vibrations that he was putting out towards them.
And so all three of us felt that, and the answer that came out simultaneously, virtually, was yes. So my part is yes, on behalf of all three of us.
And Joseph continued, this is because there are many of us here allowing you to do that. But that is your natural state, to reach out, as it were, and not just with your mind and your hand, which is part of your mind, and to say, I appreciate you. I can manipulate you. Feel that energy. Feel also the wave. Feel that the energy is tingling because it is oscillating, and it is oscillating with potential. And potential is about being in one place and experiencing, for example, this room, but at the same time, which is the other part of the wave, experiencing what might be, considering where you want to be next, and then you fall back into this reality. So you have this reality at the bottom of the curve, potential at the top of the curve. This reality at the bottom of the curve, which is vibrating at such a speed that it seems to you that you are only here, but as you are here, part of you is appreciating and considering what comes next. What comes next? At its highest God expression, what comes next is glorious. Unfortunately, at the moment, and we must obviously talk about this as this is the purpose of this book, for most people on earth, the bottom of the wave is appreciating being here, but the top of the wave is appreciating being in a worse state. So, rather than appreciating this life for the joy it should be, and at the same time approaching and creating the next life and its potential, and by next life, I mean the next physical expression, you are appreciating this life at the bottom of the curve, and at the top of the curve, you are using your ability to scan potential to consider what is going to go wrong next. You are linking the two so that the energy that should flow based on this level of vibration, and then a heightened level of awareness that keeps you stable, keeps you well, and keeps you full of energy through the natural balance of that vibration, is polluted. The bottom of the wave keeps you here, but the top of the wave also keeps you here, which is why your life seems so small by comparison to the potentials that I am describing today. Does that make sense?
And Jane says, yes.
And Joseph asked, is there anything else?
And David asks a question at that point. Just from the point of view of the readers of this book, who obviously think about physicality, I can see them rapping their knuckles on a table and saying that that is solid and physical. From your point of view, Joseph, the surroundings that you live in, do you refer to those as physical?
And Joseph replied, we refer to them only in that they are useful to us. We refer to them because we are used to having a physical framework within which we can express ourselves. The ultimate state of God, as we have discussed in other books, is no thing. Nothing. No thing. God is beyond the physical senses that you have and is beyond the physical mind, and that God as a state is no thing. So simple as to be no thing. From God issued forth the angels. From the angels issued forth physical life. Physical life has to have a reference. That is part of the experience. And the aim of creation is to experience. Simply to experience, to gain experience and to examine potential. There has to be a frame of reference, but, as you say, the frame of reference can be all-embracing to the extent that it blots out the ability to see past the illusion. And that is the difference between our reality and your reality. As you know, because of what I have said to you in the past, our illusion is much more flexible than yours, in that we can bring forth and parcel away the reality around us according to our needs. Also, we can put away that reality and enter the no thing to experience a well-being and an order that allows us to make sense of the illusion when we re-enter it, and also to order it in the best way for our potential as we evolve through the graduations of vibration and oscillation towards escape, as you will see. Of course, we surround ourselves with beauty, and it is right that we should do so, and it is what you should be doing on earth at the moment. But we are not locked into that beauty to the extent that it blinds us into believing that it is the ultimate reality. We know better, not because we are superior to you, but because we have grown and therefore have more information available to us to know and experience in a better and more fulfilling way than you do. We are not slaves to the reality, which is not reality at all, around us. Our wavelength compared to yours is one of a different frequency, which is why you cannot normally see us, and is a wavelength thus. The bottom of the wave is our reality, which is a refined level of oscillation. And the top of the wave is not only an anticipation of potential, but a creation of that potential and a knowledge that that potential is linked to God. We more directly experience God than you do. It wasn't supposed to be that way, and we are leading to this in this book. But we first have to set the stage. What I am doing is setting the stage to say, here is the stage. You are players, and I will now go on to show you that there is a play on that stage. But it is not the original play. It has been infiltrated by those that have rewritten the script. But, nevertheless, it is a play. Is that a sufficient answer, David?
David, yes, I was trying to get round the idea that even the physicality we feel we see on earth really is a very limited view of physicality. It actually extends a lot further out, as it were, and is more ethereal.
Joseph again. It is. Your reality is an anchor within that oscillation that you tap into and are a part of because you oscillate. You exist on two levels, but you are supposed to have access to both of those levels simultaneously. In an ideal world, and in the ideal world that was originally created, you were supposed to be able to dip into this reality, to experience this reality, but simultaneously have your eye on the greater reality. In other words, you knew this was an illusion and could see past it when you wanted to and for whatever purpose you wanted to. At the moment, the vibration on earth linked to the physical body and mind that encapsulates the spirit is compressed. Is 2 beats of the wavelength, but the bottom one and the top one are hardly separated. So you touch the base level, which is your reality, in 1 beat, and in the second beat you touch, yes, your potential, because you cannot help but do that. But your potential is limited by you believing that the bottom beat is your reality. You look at your reality, you see it to be wanting, and the top beat within which you create your future potential is one of despair, is one of lack, is one of imprisonment within the bottom beat. The variance between the top and bottom of the wave is very, very small. And therefore, you succeed only in bringing to yourself more of what you believe to be true from the bottom beat, which is the state of your world at the moment. Do you see that?
Yes.
Does that then answer the question?
It does, actually. Yes, thank you. Tony, can I ask one further to that on the same theme? Does that mean that we limit ourselves by our thoughts?
Absolutely, you limit yourselves. But you limit yourselves absolutely. Because you are an expression of God, everything that you create perfectly. Everything that you believe yourself to be, you believe yourself to be absolutely perfectly. And the reader will say, how can that be? I have this illness. I have this problem in my life. But the problem in your life that you are contributing to, and which others are contributing to, is a perfect expression of that problem. It is a perfect problem. The pain you have is a perfect pain. The depression you have is a perfect depression. The illness you have is a perfect illness because you are creating it, and you cannot but create perfectly. What you have to distinguish between is your ability to create perfectly and what you create. And there has to be a turn of the mindset and a turn of the creative ability towards, I will create a perfect day perfectly. I will create a perfect world perfectly. I will create perfect health perfectly. Whatever you do, you create perfectly because you are God. But you are polluted. You are masked. And your vibration has been brought down because of the effects of the fall that this book is about. Does that make sense?
It does. We have to learn how to think perfectly.
You have to learn how not to think. It is the thinking that has steeped you in the illusion and caused your problems in the first place, as we shall see. Before I leave you, which I must because I have drained Michael dreadfully again, I have to tell you that you also have in the room with you today, and allowing you to feel the vibrations, the gentleman that Michael calls the Big Indian and the Persian gentleman. As we have said, we are working together on this book, and many of the characters, they will enjoy that you are familiar with, will be working on this book. It is a book that needs to be as plainly put out as possible. And we need, within the privacy of this room, as many of my colleagues, brothers, sisters, family, loves, because I love them all and they love me, as we can in order to get things right. And I'll just close by saying that the big Indian and the Persian gentleman mentioned by Joseph in that last paragraph are our names for two of the guides who work with us.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Tony.
And so that brings to an end the question and answer for chapter 2. And we will be moving on to chapter 3, but that will be another video. So I do hope you've enjoyed listening and watching. And if you have, press the subscribe button, it helps us. And we look forward to seeing you again. So it's good night from me and it's good night from Michael.
Take care. Goodbye.
God bless.